Welcome back, everyone. We're here to continue with the series of hardcore videos to go over some things. They announced that they are going to wipe the hardcore season 3 after the holidays, which means that we may get a new hardcore season 4 sometime in January. So what I want to talk about today are a few different things. I am level 10 and I have some gear changes. I'll go over it with you, and I'm in the 12. And I thought that we could do some of these quests here because for the level they're very challenging, and we'll go over how to do them safely, although there really is no 100% safe with these quests because they're much harder than anything else that you'll run at this level, which is why I wanted to make a video talking about them. We will also talk about certain changes to my gear and then go over what I consider to be essential bard spells. I'll also talk about essential ranger and paladin spells. And then we may even cover some gear. We may go out into the Feywild and look for some gear. There's a quest there where we help a knight fight a treehouse, and loot drops from that. It's a pretty quick quest, so we might go out there and do that as well. But I thought for the first quest that we could do, probably what I consider to be one of the harder quests is the library. The quest called Memory Lapse. I will pull out the companions just for safety's sake. I will pin them here. And the companions are really to make up for the fact that we're on the hardcore event and we can't run this with anyone else. Otherwise, I would probably try to find a group, but there is quite a few people logged in now, but there's no LFMs, So I like to do this. I'll show you guys how I do this quest. First thing I like to do is kill this bookcase. And the faster you do this, you can avoid this spawn. And these spawning mobs are what kill people during the hardcore event. You'll see death messages pop up with the monsters that are spawning here, these harmful thoughts. And so those, you want to kill them as fast as you can. If you have really good DPS, you can beat those bookcases up before they have a chance to spawn. Apparently this gnome is bugged with her arms out like that, but looks like she went back to normal. So I'm just going to burn down all of this and then go up. There are traps that I have to watch out for. They won't necessarily kill me, but they will blow me off. There's a bookcase up there, I believe, somewhere. So the normal spawns of the multiplication tables are not that bad, but champion ones can be pretty bad. Okay, so I picked up a book, one of the books for the speech. More multiplication tables. If you have a trapper, there's a box that can disable that. Got to burn this down as fast as I can. More multiplication tables. So it looks like in the last patch the devs fixed it so the Snow Peaks champions are no longer spawning. I guess that it was an accident that they were spawning in the first place. I have not seen one since the patch. The patch was a couple days ago. Okay, so we got the book. We could Dimension Door back to the beginning here, but it's really not a far run. But you guys know that I really like using Dimension Door. It's just, I will do this as if, you know, somebody's on a barbarian, for example, or something without Dimension Door. So then I go this way. Same thing. We want to kill these bookcases as fast as possible. Be really careful if a champion spawns. Okay, that's dead. Now we want to go right for the bookcases. We don't ever want to leave one. The most dangerous mob in here are the distracting fantasies because they can hit you with a control spell. And actually, to counter that, I am going to... Oh, I just hit that by accident. I am going to put Protection from Evil on myself, because we know Protection from Evil protects you from controls and compulsions, and that's what those succubi do. The distracting fantasies will hit you. Well, see, so Protection from Evil does not apparently protect us from the effect. I'll look at it next time if it happens to me again and see exactly what it is. But I have to kill this. Okay, we'll heal up. So that's good to know. I didn't know that. I was hoping that Protection from Evil would help us, but it did not. So that means I need to be extra careful, and it means I need to have as many hit points as possible. So I will do everything just in case I get controlled again. You have to be really careful, especially if it's a champion. She wants to put... I'll go over my gear after this quest is done. I have an item on that freezes monsters, so that's what you guys are seeing. One of the pieces of gear that I'm wearing. Okay, so I got 2 books. Now, technically, you only need to get the 4 books that are useful for the actual speech, but I'm just grabbing all of them. We kill this bookcase immediately, try to get the distracting fantasy, kite them, stay away from them. Uncontrollable urges hit really hard if they are champions. You'll see uncontrollable urges killing people. Pick up both of the crests. The crests go into this book and will take you up. There's another bookcase here we want to kill. We want to kill all the bookcases. Because there's a distracting fantasy, I'm going to kite just in case she commands me. That way I'm not surrounded by monsters and I give myself a little time to make the saving throw and get out of it. You know, as opposed to getting commanded right here, and then they can just swarm me because I can't move during that time. So you're always trying to think about how can you maximize your environment to keep you alive. There is a secret door and an optional chest up here. I probably don't have the search to find it, so I'm not even going to bother. It's right to our right here. I need to go and get that distracting fan. Oh, she came to me. That's great. Oh, and that was a nice bit of lag right there. But that's okay. Gives me a chance to get these guys. I'm just gonna leave them. I don't have to worry about a dungeon alert, and they cannot fly or anything, so they'll just throw that, you know, mud or whatever the hell they fling at you. So this is a little bit of a, you know, Mario Brothers. Get the lever, and then you can use the ladder. Okay, here's the cookbook. I doubt we need it for the... We're not cooking anything, but just one of the books. I am not going back to kill him. I still have resists, but I will renew my resists. There we go. Just going to ignore. Okay, so the ladder's down now. If something happens and I have to jump off. And here we kill everything in the room. There is a manticore in there, and they throw spines. There's a champion urge. You see he hit me really hard. Okay, so these guys throw spines. So I want to try to stay where I can evade those by moving, because he hit really hard as well. So the central thesis we need for the speech. We could have skipped the cookbook, but we just got it. Now we have all the books, so we can just leave. There's no reason for us to stay. We have one section left, and then we have to do the last fight. During the last fight, you read the speech, and then the wizard becomes attackable. Now here, you get ambushed by monsters behind this wall. So what I do is I run to this door. I open this door. And then I go back and I kill these guys because I don't want them to, you know, gank me, surround me, chase me, whatever, once I go into the library and start fighting the other mobs. And for this, there are these manticores you can see. And I believe there's 4 of them. There might be 5. But what I'm going to do is lure it to the door. And they are too big to get through this door. So on a warlock, I'm just going to sit here and burn them down. That's the safest way to deal with those on a spellcaster. If you were a barbarian or an inquisitive or something, you could inquisitive shoot from here, and barbarian, I believe you could probably swing your weapon from here, or melee, you could probably swing from there. I mean, you know, if you have a high enough armor class and you do enough DPS, you can kill them pretty quickly. If you have a good PRR, you don't have to worry about the piercing damage. But I'm still in robes, so, you know, for me, I need to kite these guys. So I'm showing you how to kite the easiest way. I mean, you can see he didn't really hit me that bad, but there's a few of them. So, you know, if you get knocked down by one of these guys, they can swarm on you. The piercing, for some reason, hits really hard. There's secret doors and a chest. You can see, I can see the chest through the wall, but I do not have the ability to find this secret door. So I'm not going to worry about it. In the Hardcore League, we don't worry about optionals because we're just worried about getting the quest completed. Now, you see, I'm in a very bad spot because I am pinned, so I'm going to call my buddies here, and maybe they'll help me and heal me. Likely, yeah, she did, actually. I got a heal. That's great. Yeah, they both had me pinned. So you can see, if it weren't for the hirelings, I would have been dead. I would have lost a life there, but I didn't, thankfully. So the strategy works. You know, having a backup plan. This is an optional. It's another fight with a dragon. We're not going to go in there. So yeah, I told you, this content is very hard. One of the reasons I like, and you can see that was a great demonstration of why I like to kite those to the door, especially if you are in a robe or don't have a high PRR. I mean, let's look. My PRR is 7. So, I mean, I could have easily, like, I got boxed by both of them, and I couldn't move, and could have got killed very, very quickly. They were purple names, so I did not throw my Evarts to CC them. You know, they were immune to CC. The best option that I had was to summon my help and hope that they healed me, which they one of them got a heal on me just as I was going down. So you can see these quests are no joke because I've been steamrolling through all of the other content, but this here is very challenging. The last fight will be equally as challenging because we fight a wizard who's immune to CCs and all that, and also we get wave after wave of all the other mobs, including the succubi who can do the the freeze, to put the blue cap on you and freeze you. So what we're doing now is looking for the book. It's hidden. You have to search for it. My experience is sometimes this pops up right away. Other times it takes, like, I'm going through literally all the tables before I find it. If I find it. Hopefully it's in one of these last two. Oh, there it is. I guess I found it through the wall. I didn't see it. There is another book here, which is right here. So now I have all of the books. We're skipping all the optionals. We're going to run back. For the last fight, I'm going to buff myself. I'm going to summon my little Archon, who really doesn't hit that hard, but it's another target, and it does do an AoE. I think I might throw Sleet Storms up as well. Just put these guys here. Put Sleet Storms at the bottom. Because they're going to come at us up these stairs. Blur. Rage. Give myself a stone skin. Okay, and then here we go. Begin the speech. The first thing I want to do is... So we want thesis, fundamental, I believe memoir, and it could be the journal. I mean, I'm going off memory. I haven't run this quest. I usually only run it once every hardcore league. So it's not the jokes. It's not the cookbook. It could be recent acquisitions. Yeah, so... We'll do the fundamentals of magic first. The reason why you want to get all 4 correct at once is then you only have to fight 3 waves or whatever it is. And it looks like I took too long and my Sleet Storms are gone. So now we do the central thesis. So I know those 2 are correct. Somebody watching this is probably going to know exactly what they are. I did not Google it first, or just going on memory here. I would then use recent acquisitions. Oh no, maybe that's that's clearly the wrong one to do. Yeah, that Demon Soul hit me very, very hard. Okay, so it's a guest. The guest of honor is important. Yep. So make a note of that. It's not acquisitions. That is wrong. Acquisitions is wrong. Cookbooks wrong. Pretty sure the jokes are wrong as well. We'll put the journal on there. Okay, no, that's wrong too. This is great. You get to see exactly what you don't want to do ever. But it is good. You can see what happens if you mess it up. And while we're here, once we finish this quest, if we survive, I will look and see. Yeah, so it's not the primer either. It has to be jokes then. It's the jokes. So there you go. Main thesis, jokes. There we go, jokes. That's how to make a good speech. Still have to kill all these. Beware of the distracting fantasy. Alright, so I showed you the way that I do it. And I will pull up this quest on the wiki right now. But you saw the path I go. I zone in, I go right, then I go, pardon me, I go south, then I go west, then I go east, then I go north. Okay, so here, yeah, you want fundamentals of magic, central thesis, jokes, and memoirs of a college friend. Do those 4. You saw the other ones pull in some mobs that you don't want to fight, so. Oh, I actually pulled a charisma hat, which is the hat that I would use on this character. However, I am using the Crown of Snow from the Feywild, which gives me that ice, when I burst my burst, it gives me ice and a cold shield and a spell focus mastery. So we'll see, but it's good. I'll take the helmet and keep it. Maybe I can use it later. Yeah, so you can see why you'd want to do that with a group. Just to have people, like if I were with a group and somebody were with me, I probably wouldn't have got boxed in by those 2 mobs. And the fact that they are immune to CC, what can you do? People die all the time to stuff like that. And you can see me, I did 3-5 my first hardcore league, 4-5 my second hardcore league. I could have done 5-5, but I didn't like the pet, the second one, and then 5-5 the third. And there are lots and lots of close calls. It's one of the things about hardcore season 3 that was very popular because of the extra lives. People, took chances and did things, but for our purposes here, even though I have the extra life, it's the after party, so I would be able to leave the Land of Lost Souls and continue to quest. I wouldn't be locked there. The next one I wanted to do is kind of a big deal. And this is, again, another quest that for the level, all of these are just very, very difficult. Like Temple of Elemental Evil, difficult. So I've got my digital buddies, the rescue team if I need them. Put them on aggressive, pin them, talk to her, and she will transport me. I'm out of stone skin wands, but I will throw all of my other buffs. So the kobolds here are dangerous. We have a dimensional anchor. I cannot dimension door. Out here there are patrols, and they have wolves. They can trip you. So you gotta kite them if you are on a single target, like an inquisitive build, say. And do your best if you're on a squishy caster like I am. You certainly could maybe run in if you were on a Paladin that had heavy armor on or something. But even so, I wouldn't recommend just charging in, because the casters could hit you. You could get knocked down. But Hardcore League is all about slow and steady. So I don't want to get near the wolves. The wolves will trip me. So I'm doing my best to stay away. And then also to keep moving and strafing and dodging, so we keep our self away from the ray spells. This, I'll switch to single target for him. And I'm going to just jump, basically. Jump cast at him. In hopes that it maybe ruins his bite attack. But he didn't really hit that hard. Go back to AoE. There's a shrine here if you need a shrine at this point. I've got my buddies if I need help. Hopefully this one I don't, but you never know. Like I said, that's the reason to have them. You know, on a normal server, you'll learn how to play much better if you don't use hirelings. But the risks of you dying on a home server, there aren't any really. You die and you can go right back to where you were. You might lose experience, but you won't lose your time. You won't lose your investment. As opposed to the Hardcore League, you know, if you... I'm level 10. This is a significant investment of time. This tune has no tomes, but I know people who do tome their characters, and that is money. Time is money. So, you know, there's no reason to risk it. You know, we know about the home server. It's a completely different game. It's a million years away. So we want to have as much advantage as we can get when we're dealing with these very difficult quests. So even though I'm not towing the hirelings around with me and letting them DPS, I have them in case I need them, in case I get stuck. And, you know, the reason is my DPS, even though it's terrible, is enough to burn this stuff down the way that I'm kiting and running. I don't want the hirelings to run off and aggro anything or start fights that I'm not ready for. And the other thing really simply, too, is that, you know, one of them could die and I don't have res scrolls. So I could pick up res scrolls, but my percentage to use them is only around 50%. And really, it would just be more of a waste for me to do that. So I want to keep them alive. They are an emergency go-to, not part of the quest. So I'm just going to handle everything myself. And if I need them, I call them. If you were with a party, though, you know, you obviously would all want to stay together. Yeah, that crown is very helpful. So this is a trap. Oh, I'm in the trap. Oh, God. That's such a hard-hitting trap, too. The trap is all down that hallway there. Trapper can disable that if you have a trapper with you. If not, you just got to jump and do your best to heal while you're in it. The worst thing you can do in any trap is turn around or jump backwards. You're always better off running straight forward. It's our nature to to back up, to stop. And the devs know that when they were designing the traps. That's part of the way that you get trapped. So you're almost always better once you hit a trap to continue running through the trap. I say almost always because there are certain instances where it doesn't matter. You're going to die anyway if you get into a certain trap. So you have to know the quest. Here on this water, there are a bunch of traps too. I should be okay maneuvering through here, just jumping and strafing and healing as I jump. You can see I am taking pretty significant damage, and I keep failing my wand cast. But as long as I'm able to get them off and heal myself and get some temporary hit points, I should be fine. Do my best not to stand in the way of the trap and just jump through it. Trapper can disable one of the boxes, but the best thing to do is just run through. And you don't have to kill everything, just the stuff that's in your way. And technically you could probably just run all the way through here, but I don't want an alert for the next part, so these champions hit really hard, and I am boxed in again. I got hit with a shock and awe, so I'm sort of stunned. Makes me run a lot slower. Doing my best to move, but sometimes monsters are, you know, boxing me in. This quest does not have a lot of breakables, so getting these will give you bonus, but you know, on the hardcore league where you don't have much, any bit helps. You can break the boxes and pick up the stuff that drops. I think I have around 100,000 platinum right now, which is not a lot. That you can spend that really quickly getting potions and wands and scrolls and stuff. So here you want to stay away from the rocks. I think you can attack the rocks. I don't think they kill you if you get hit by a rock. It just knocks you down. Now, if you don't know where the traps are, anytime you're walking down a hallway, just jump as you move. That will help you avoid, you know, getting hit by some traps. Not all of them. There's a shrine if you need it. More breakables. If you go there, I'm pretty sure there's a spawn. I don't need it, so I'm going to skip it. So this chamber here, you walk into this chamber and the wizard will throw a spell on you once you go into that circle. However, I would recommend not going in on the side, because this room changes and you can get stuck when he makes you big. You can get stuck on the sides. So I always recommend going straight in at the icon. I'll get knocked down. And then when we wake up, we're big. Now you see where I spawned right here because I went straight in. But if you went in from the side, you spawn into this stupid rock thing and you can't move. And this is an anchored zone. You can't dimension her out. So if you're by yourself, you'd have to exit the quests and restart. If you're with somebody else, you wouldn't be able to go to the end and loot the chest and finish the quest. They would have to go and finish the quest for you. So that's a really important time saver. I've had that happen. I had it happen to me one of the first times I ever did the quest, and then I've been in groups where it has happened to people more times than you would think it should. Okay, I can't go through there, so I have to go through the wall. And this is a great quest to run for loot if you can do it easily and quickly. There are a set of boots that drop out of here that are very good. There's also trapper gloves that drop out of here. So now we don't have to worry about the traps. They're not big enough to hurt us. So apparently they trigger our fire shield. You have to be careful around this corner. There are casters. And even though we want to kill casters first. Oh, he's a champion caster, so we need to be careful. Pretty sure we're coming on the boss quickly. Oh, there's the traps we ran through before. They don't really hit that hard now. Nevertheless, we're going to heal a little bit. And this is the final fight. More shaman. The boss is a caster, so we want to continue to move and strafe, not give him a target. He does the same thing his other kobolds do. He raises his hands when he's going to cast, so. And that was that. Maybe hopefully we'll get some loot. Nope. It's one of the more challenging quests to do on hardcore because a lot of times people get separated. Necrofocus and Radiance. I'm going to take that because I am necrofocused and eventually I will use Radiance. So right now I'll go over the gear changes. You can see I have 112,000 platinum. Pretty much the same. I'm still using the Barovia scepter that we hunted for. I have a little vitality buckler that gives me cold resist that does not interfere with my casting. Unfortunately, it does nothing really for my armor class. I'm not proficient with it. It does nothing for my PRR or anything like that. I'm still wearing the robe, the fortification, and armor 5. I have been looking for an upgrade to that. Hopefully I'll be able to get some light armor to wear out of the Ravenloft stuff when I go and do that. Proof against disease, dodge 3. Now I submitted a ticket to SSG. Proof against poison, proof against disease are presently not granting the immunity to natural diseases and natural poisons. You do get the dice roll, but you should get an immune message, but that's not happening. It got bugged out somehow, so hopefully they fix that. Still wearing the blindness immunity goggles. I got the Crown of Snow. It was the only piece of gear I got out of the Feywild stuff. I have a +4 charisma with transmutation focus. I'm not really using transmutation. That's more of an alchemist. Still have the runic trinket. Still have the resist cloak. My belt is death block with false life 19. That's great. The ring is the resistance 3, protection 3 ring that we saw. Impulse is my force spell power. The boots are the same. And the ring is the same. Gives me another 5. So my spell resistance is 15. Fortification 98. 15 spell resistance. My saving throws are pretty bad. My armor class is pretty bad. My hit points are low. My damage is low. But, you know, we're doing the best we can. Okay, so what I will do now is talk about bard spells and essential bard spells for the hardcore league. If you decide to play a bard, a lot of people are doing thrower bards right now. I guess they're very popular. So, what spells would you need on a bard? Well, that's going to vary based on your build. If you're doing a thrower build, or if you're doing maybe a spell singer, or if you're doing a swashbuckler. But we won't talk about build specific spells. What we're going to focus on are spells that for the hardcore league are essential to have just because they'll help keep you alive. The first one in the list, level 1, is Remove Fear. We talked about this when we did the divine spells. Remove Fear gives an ally a +4 morale bonus versus fear, and it will dispel any fear effects that exist on the character when it's cast. So I advocate for people to get fear immunity as quickly as possible during the hardcore league, because all immunities are what I consider tier 1 required gold standard defenses that you want on all your any character for the hardcore league. You want as many immunities as you can get, and fear immunity is at the top of the list. So this character here, I have fear immunity built into my enhancements from Enlightened Spirit. I have Aura of Courage, which makes me immune to fear and gives a +4 morale bonus to saving throws against fear. So essentially it gives off the remove fear effect. But the reason why you want to have remove fear is in case somebody in your party doesn't have fear immunity, you can put a buff on them, and also you can remove it if they get the purple face over their head. That means that they are helpless. They can't do anything because they're afraid. You can remove that, and so then help them. So it's just a survival thing. It's really good to have. The next essential, what I would consider essential, Sonic Blast. Sonic Blast we talked about in the Arcane. Why is it essential? It's just a DPS spell. Well, not only is it a ray ranged spell, which means it goes twice as far as the other spells, but it explodes with an AoE of sonic damage. The sonic damage won't be a lot, but it has a very short stun tied to it. It's actually a daze, and the target makes a will save. If they fail, they're dazed for 1 or 2 seconds. But that's enough time. If you throw Sonic Blast into a group, you may daze a few of them and prevent a rush. So it's very helpful. Also helpful to break breakables that are far away. Rather than, say, throwing or shooting at them, you could just cast a Sonic Blast and blow up a whole bunch of them, because like I said, it's an AoE of sonic damage. So I consider it essential. It's far too useful to skip if you can fit it into your build. The next, and we won't spend a lot of time on these, no-brainers, Expeditious Retreat. Who wants to run 5 when you can run 25? You know, get it, take it. Kiting, running, surviving. The faster you go, the easier it is for you to survive. The next one, Featherfall. You need to have a Featherfall solution, whether it's a cloak or a ring or some object that you wear that makes you able to fall without taking damage. If you don't, take the spell. Don't trust that somebody's going to have the spell, and also don't trust that when somebody throws the spell that you got hit with it. You always want to look when somebody casts Featherfall. you want to look and make sure that you have that buff. Otherwise, you make a long jump and die. I saw that happen a lot in Hardcore Season 1. People would think they were getting Featherfall. They would jump off in a quest that has a high jump, um, Misery's Peak, for example, and die. And that was that. So, you know, you don't want to be that guy or girl. Next up, Heroism is an enchantment spell. It's a buff. It gives you, we talked about this with arcane spells, +2 morale, attack, save, and skills. You can't beat that. You want that. You want to upgrade heroism to greater heroism as soon as you can. Greater heroism adds +4s to all the buffs, and it gives you temporary hit points and fear immunity as long as the spell is on you, and it can be extended. So for heroism, greater heroism, you want to have those. Rage is the next. Rage I talked about with the alchemist, pardon me. Rage I talked about with the wizard spells. It is an area effect, +2 strength and constitution. It will give you more hit points. Hit points are necessary in the hardcore league. Take it, use it, you won't regret it. The next spell is Sound Burst. Sound Burst is an AoE sonic damage that will stun whatever fails a will save. Actually, it's a fortitude save. Will be stunned for 6 seconds. That is great crowd control. If you can land it, take it. A lot of monsters have high fortitude saves, but it's still worth taking it. The next spell in the list of essential bard spells is Blur. We talked about Blur in the arcane magic tree. You want Blur because it gives you 20% concealment. You want to take the spell even if you have it on an item, because you can blur your friends, you can blur NPCs, you can throw blur and help people out. Not everybody's going to have it on an item. It's very useful to have it. The next bard spell, that is essential for the hardcore league is invisibility. You want to have invisibility. You want to have invisibility either on scrolls, wands. You want to take it as a spell until you get scrolls and wands, or potions. They do have invisibility potions that you can loot, but it's just too useful. It's so helpful in certain situations. You don't want to skip it. So make sure you run with invisibility somewhere. Dispel Magic, Greater Dispel Magic, and Mordenkainen's Disjunction are all great spells to have if you can fit them in. They don't really have a use. You're really not going to use it to remove a summoned monster or to remove a buff, but what they are very, very helpful for is once you get to the Forgotten Realms, you can use it to make certain traps go away. Any trap that's a spell ward, you can cast Dispel Magic on it and make it vanish. So while I wouldn't say you could do those quests without a trapper completely, it's always nice to have a trapper. It does help to have Dispel Magic, Greater Dispel Magic, or Mordenkainen's Disjunction. So if you can fit it in, it's highly recommended. The next, and what I consider probably one of the most essential bard spells, is Good Hope. Good Hope is just one of those very nice buffs that you hope the bard took and will throw when you start the quest. +2 morale bonus to attack, save, skill, and damage. You can see somebody died at level 7. Yeah, it's no joke. Here, I'll let you. I wonder what he was slain by. They're not listing, said misadventure, which is in hardcore land, that's trap. So he died in a trap. So yeah, Good Hope. You want to take it. +2 damage, skill, save, and attacks. Can't beat that. And you can extend it. It's an AoE. The next is Displacement. Displacement gives you a 50% concealment bonus. 1 out of 2 attacks will miss you. Necessary spell for yourself to survive, especially if you plan on going into Reaper content later on. and are very helpful in Elite for champions. You will always want to have displacement on yourself when you can get it. The next spell is Haste. Haste is fantastic. If you can keep everyone hasted constantly, do it. If you can extend it, do it. 32% movement on run, 15% faster attack speed, +1 attack rolls, +1 dodge chance to your armor class, +1 reflex saves. It's just so helpful and useful. You want to have it. And it also counteracts slow. If somebody's slowed, you can remove it with a haste. The next is freedom of movement. Now you can get freedom of movement in your music if you spec into the spell singer tree. But let's say you decided to do Swashbuckler, or you're an Inquisitive or something. You want to take freedom of movement. I consider it an essential spell, probably the most essential spell. You or your allies, for the duration of the spell, are immune to conditions that would entangle, paralyze you, or have like a solid fog slow effect. So sleet storm, solid fog, you can just walk right through them like they're nothing. So freedom of movement, get it on your gear, keep the spell, cast it on people, ask who needs it. It will keep people alive. The next, I believe, is Hold Monster. We talked about this in Arcane. Hold Monster, Mass Hold Monster. You can use it on Reapers. You can use it on some champions. It's just very useful to be able to crowd control, especially if you have good DCs, to stop a monster while people gather their tactics and then burn them down. Fantastic. Essential for the hardcore. The next also essential CC for your bard is Otto's Sphere of Dancing. That is an AoE sphere, and when monsters enter it, they make a will save, and if they fail, they just start dancing. And that allows all the DPS to just burn them down. Or you, if you are an Inquisitive bard, let's say, or a thrower, you put up a sphere, and then when things are standing in it and dancing, you just burn them down. So, fantastic. There's two spells that are great, Shout and Greater Shout. If you're looking for Sonic DPS, Shout is a good low level, but you can skip it and go for Greater Shout, because Greater Shout has a stun effect on it. So it is a cone that also has an AoE stun. And so I highly recommend that for crowd control, but it also does some pretty good damage if you have a high perform, which you will on your bard. The next spell is Hero's Feast. Hero's Feast is one of those spells in DDO that I want everybody to know about. It's one of the best spells out there. It's a buff, and when you have it put on you, it activates when you're in a quest when you use a shrine. And your party at the shrine partakes of the feast and then gets the benefit of it. It's food, nectar, they say. The food from the feast will cure anyone who has the feast of all diseases, any nausea, any sickness, and it also makes the eaters immune to poison, and it will also give temporary hit points to the, so you get temporary hit points, you get a +1 morale bonus to attack, you get a +1 on your will saves, and you get immunity to fear. So if you didn't have immunity to fear and you didn't have immunity to poison, well, Hero's Feast now is giving you. Now, I'm pretty sure that the Hero's Feast immunity to poison works like Proof Against Poison, which is an immunity to natural poisons. But I haven't tested this. We probably should. At some point I will, to see whether Hero's Feast gives you immunity to magical poisons. Because if that's true, that is the same poison immunity that you get from a neutralized poison right there. We're immune to natural and magical poisons. And while my neutralized poison is only lasting for 21 seconds, the Hero's Feast lasts 1 minute per caster level. So If someone level 18 cast that, let's say, it would be an 18-minute immunity to poison. Whether it's all forms of poison or just some natural poisons, we don't know, but I'm going to test it and we'll let you guys know. The next spell, one of the most useful spells in DDO, take it anytime you can take it, is Otto's Irresistible Dance. It's an enchantment. You don't have to have any DCs to use it because there's no saving throw. It just makes any monster start dancing. And the great thing about it is you can use it on Reapers. So if you are getting rushed by a Plague Reaper, you can dance it, and it's a pretty significant dance, even on Reaper 10. Now, you're not going to be doing Reaper 10 on the Hardcore League, but any ability to slow Reapers is going to help you if you're doing Reaper on Hardcore. It's a great CC for champions. It's a great CC for Reapers. Single target, no save. And that's it for the essential Bard spells for the Hardcore League. I told you too that we would go over the Ranger spells and the Paladin spells. So this is going to be sort of a very short list because they just don't have access to that many spells. But if you are on a Ranger, you want to keep in mind that resist energy, and I've already showed you guys that I carry it. If I did not have the ability to take resist energies in the Enlightened Spirit tree, I would have taken the spell. But I did not need to take the spell. But it's just too useful because you can see I cast it on myself, and what was 5 is now 25 acid resist. Well, that will keep you alive if you run through acid, if you fight an acid monster, if you get an acid dot on you. So I recommend it's an essential spell for the Hardcore League just because it really will allow you to survive by making you immune to a certain amount of damage that elements do to you. So if you're on a Ranger and you can fit resist energy in, I consider it essential. Another spell that I think is essential is Jump. Jump, I've talked about when I did Arcane. Allies and you get a enhancement bonus to jump. The cap is 40. You want your jump somewhere between 20 and 40. Jump is just one of those skills that are way too important. There are too many jump puzzles in DDO, Mario Brother style jumping, where having jump really, really helps. So I consider it essential. The next is protection from energy. Again, it's more protection against fire, cold, acid. Protection from energy is a temporary immunity. We spoke about this with the Arcane. The reason I recommend it is because it gives you fake hit points versus whatever element that you are protected against. Protection from energy is fantastic. You want to keep it on yourself, renew it when it goes off. It will let you swim in lava. It will let you take a fireball. It will let you take an acid dot. And it doesn't have a limit. So whatever you cast, it's 12 points per caster level. So if you cast it at level 10, it's 120 points of fake hit points towards whatever element. And, you know, that's great. I mean, Hardcore League is all about having as many hit points as you can get. The next spell, and this is the last spell that I consider, is Freedom of Movement. We already talked about Freedom of Movement. I won't go over it for long. Hopefully you know that Freedom of Movement is an essential spell. Probably the most essential spell. You can cast it on yourself. You can cast it on allies. Everyone should have freedom of movement once you can get it in every quest that you do. It will keep you alive, keeping you from getting paralyzed, entangled, or held up in AoE fog. You know, the slowing fog effects, sleet storms. You can walk right through those with freedom of movement. So highly, highly recommended. So here's the thing. The next spells that I will do that I consider essential for Hardcore League are Paladin spells. So if you make a Paladin, we'll go over what I consider to be essential spells. Now, keep in mind that if you are on a Paladin, Paladins are very specific to their builds. You may be a tank. You may be a two-handed AoE DPS. You may be a sword and board DPS. You may be a two-weapon fighting Paladin. You may be an inquisitive Paladin. You might be a hybrid Paladin Sorc Druid. I don't know if you can even do that. But the point is, every build is going to have spells that will help optimize that build. So you want to pay close attention to the build that you are playing and follow that as a guide before this. What I'm going to tell you are, based on my experience, the spells that I feel are essential because they will help you survive. But if you can't fit them into your spell list, try to get them somewhere else. So a great example is the first spell I consider to be important, essential, is Lionheart. Lionheart allows you as a paladin to cast immunity to fear on an ally. Now, you don't need it because you are immune to fear as a paladin, but your buddy might need it. He might not have immunity to fear. Somebody might not have taken remove fear. He might not have remove fear potions. Having the ability to throw in a full-on immunity will keep him alive because he'll be immune to Phantasmal Killer. He'll be immune to Scare. He'll be immune to any fear effect with the fear immunity. So I consider it essential if you can fit it in. The next one is Protection from Evil. Protection from Evil we've talked about. It gives you a deflection bonus to your armor class, resistance bonus to your saves, +2, but it also wards you against magical controls and compulsions. Now, not every magical control and compulsion, but enough. It will keep you from getting commanded. It will keep you from getting greater commanded. It will keep you from getting dominated. So you want to have Protection from Evil, especially when you get up into higher level content or Reaper content. Keep Protection from Evil. I have it on a wand on my bar if I need it. Like I said, we saw in that quest that I did that it was not stopping the effect that they were putting on me that would put the little blue cap. But I think that's because they are specific monsters to that quest. Normal vampires who do their vampire dominate is protected with Protection from Evil. So you want to have that. We've already talked about this. Resist energy. Why it gives you an immunity to up to a certain amount of resist for that particular fire, frost, acid. If you do not have the ability to cast, you can wand cast it. You could get it in certain builds, but on a paladin, you want to have the ability to make yourself resistant to various elements. So I highly recommend taking it. Certain DPS builds where you're optimizing your DPS spells only, you could wand cast it, but I like taking the spell myself. That way it lasts, if I'm level 10, it lasts 10 minutes. And you might not be in a group where a caster has it, so it's worth having. The next is Magic Circle Against Evil. Magic Circle Against Evil is an AoE Protection from Evil. You want to upgrade your Protection from Evil to Magic Circle. You don't need to carry both, just carry Magic Circle if you can't fit. If you can fit it, if you can't fit it, then carry Protection from Evil. There are some other spells. One here that I would consider essential is Prayer. Prayer is it can be extended. It is a special favor luck bonus to attack, damage, save, and skill checks. It gives you a +1 for the party, and it debuffs any monsters that get hit by it by -1 for all those things. But You don't really use it as a debuff so much. People will throw it out as a buff because it's a luck bonus that can help a trapper. It's a luck bonus that can help the party's saving throws. So it's just good to have, especially if you're going through traps or if you're dealing with particularly nasty area where you're making skill checks. It's good to have prayer. And probably the last, I mean, obviously, I'm going to say 2 here. Restoration. So restoration is one of those spells that you can scroll it. You can wand it if you find. You can potion it. But you want to have restoration on you and have the ability to restore negative levels. You yourself, if you are, let's say, a Warforged Paladin, are not subject to level drains, nor do you have to worry about restoring yourself. However, you know, people in your party may get enervated or level drained by beholders, for example, and having the ability to restore them is extremely helpful. You may save somebody's life. So carry restore scrolls or take the spell. Make sure you have some way to cast it. There are some quests where you can use it on NPCs. Very helpful to have. So I consider it essential. The next, and this is the last, is Death Ward. Death Ward, you want to have, get it as soon as you can. Keep it on you at all times. Make sure everyone in your party has it on them at all times. If it gets removed, renew it. Extend it if you can. It grants immunity to death spells, energy drain, and negative energy. It is better than Death Block, which only handles death spells. Death Block does not handle negative energy or energy drains. So Death Ward is superior. Take it, use it, give it out. Yeah, so I think that is it for the spells. Now I will do in another video the spells for Alchemist and Artificer. But I told you guys that we were going to go and do a quest in the Feywild. Because I still have a bunch of quests to do. Level 6 is just overwhelming, especially because the server is empty and I can't find help with these quests. I've done a lot of them, but I still have to do all of the quests out here in the Feywild. And I don't know them that well. I mean, I know them probably 100 times less than I know the quests that we just did in the 12. And you could see that it not like I'm not a super expert on those. I wasn't exactly sure which books for the speech, for example. But I know the quests. Out here, I've only done like Immortality Lessons, Ice Mount Curse. I've only done those 1 or 2 times. So I don't really feel comfortable making a video for those yet. Especially not tips and tricks videos for the Hardcore League. I mean, I might tell you guys to do something that's stupid and would get people killed. So I need to learn that content a little better. But I still have a bunch of other content like Chronoscope. Well, I probably cannot do the Chronoscope raid by myself, so I will probably skip that. I have the Bloody Crypt, which is, I haven't done it just because it's a long quest. I have not done Devil Assault. Now I can either do that on normal or I can do that on hard. I think the next video I make, I will try to do Devil Assault on hard, so you guys can see exactly how hard it is. I'll bring 2 companions. I'll get my summoned little Archon, so we have a bunch of mobs, and I will try to complete it for the favor, and we'll see how difficult it is. I may die. They're closing this server down. It really doesn't matter if I die, but so far I have not died. I have not lost a life. I came close, but not yet. So we're still legit. But I want to show you guys, if you're like, oh, I don't want to do Devil Assault on normal, I want to do it on hard. Well, we will see exactly how hard it is, especially if you try to solo it. Now, I told you guys that I have a friend who was on a barbarian bear. He was mostly barbarian, and he just took enough bear to get into the bear stance. And he was able to, with blood tribute, to do that quest on elite, which was extremely impressive because he was level 10. Will I try Devil Assault on elite? Not on this build. No. Maybe if I were on a barbarian and with a two-handed weapon. You know, he was a two-handed fighter in bear form doing blood tribute, and he stacked, his main stat was constitution. So, he wasn't doing the highest DPS, but he was doing enough DPS, and he had so many hit points that he was able to deal with the wave after wave in Devil Assault on elite. This is not to say that I advocate people to try that unless you are, looking for an extreme challenge and you think that your build can handle it. But I just wanted to mention it because it is possible. It certainly is possible. So this is the quest that is not a bad loot run. I'm not going to ignore everything. And what we have to do is help this knight go and fight an ornery windmill, basically. And I'll show you guys how to do this quest too, if you don't know. So we talk to her. Hey, you've come to help me slay the beast. You're the one yelling at a windmill? Yes. It's a little bit of a nod to Don Quixote. Although this is a woman. But we run up here. There's a few mobs. There aren't many. This quest is very quick, and it's not very difficult if you know the strategy. It's actually a very cool idea, because it may not occur to you the first time you come in here. You may wonder what the hell is going on. So we round the corner, and we see the windmill, and now we have to talk to her. What are you talking about? It's just a windmill. Okay, you don't believe me? Let's go fight it. And she's going to run in. You can ignore her completely. I'm going to blur myself, make sure I have my resists. What's going to happen is this windmill, we cannot hurt it. You can see, we cannot hurt it. The hit points that we damage will go back, but you can see that there are these topiary lions, and you can also see that the windmill does this thing where there's an AoE on the ground, and then it smashes. So what we have to do is take that house and drag it over to this summoned lion that we also can't hurt, that has a gem in its forehead, and try to get this cottage, this windmill, to land on this and shatter the gem. And we want to get in the way to keep it from moving. And there, we got it. You have to do that 3 times. So we've done 1, we have to do 2 more. The lion with the gem will respawn. Where it spawns, you just have to look around. It's not over here, but I will, engage these and kill them. And you can see the stuff dies pretty quick. The knight that's with you doesn't really help. She won't die if she gets crushed. She just says ouch. So here's this lion. So what we want to do is our best to kind of kite. There, that's perfect. Okay, so now we need to do 1 more, and then the quest is over. And there's the gem. We can see it on the top of his head right here. I got knocked down by that champion lion. Want to keep moving and try to get the house over. The house, when it crashes down, if there are other mobs, will also kill the other mobs. But our gem lion got too far, so And the reason why I'm shooting, even though I am not hurting it, is because I wanted to freeze it in ice, which I just did. Glad that worked. So now the quest is complete. It's over. You can talk to her. There's an optional that you can do where you go kill this gnome wizard behind the secret door, but we are going to skip that. The chest is right here. Just an optional chest. This is where you get named loot. I have done this quest. This is my 4th time and not got any loot, but we got one now. So 4th time is a charm. And this is the item that I wanted. This is a... It will give me part of the Seasons of the Feywild set bonus, the 2 pieces. I'll get 10 extra hit points. And also, it gives me Blurry, which is a 20% concealment on an item all the time. So I don't have to worry about blurring myself. So I can save the mana and just use Blur for my companions. So that is a great cloak. I will upgrade to. I don't technically need the cloak that I'm in now. Because it's just cold resist and electric resist, which I already have the ability to cast on myself. Let's see if we got any useful loot. Nothing. So I will take the most expensive piece and recall. Nice and easy. So that will wrap up today's video. I will be making more. Like I said, we'll do Devil Assault, we'll go over Alchemist, we'll go over Artificer, and we may do some of these other quests out here in the Feywild. Till then, I hope adventures go well. Stay safe. Join us for more. I plan to do lore videos for each quest in DDO, as well as the raids. Plus, I will be releasing more Session 0 videos for DDO on topics such as player character races, the religions of Eberron, the Last War, and the Mournlands, the Dragon Marks, the Dragon Marked houses, and much, much more. Click the like button if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below. I like interacting with other players. My main tune in DDO is named Mary. I am on Sarlona. I also have a guild on the Hardcore League. My guild is Death Smile. Please say hi if you're on either of those servers. Subscribe to see more Adventure.AI content about DDO, Dungeons & Dragons Online, and gaming in general. I also play Star Wars The Old Republic. You can join us at Adventure.AI on Discord. Check us out on Twitch. Check us out on Twitter. You can go to our Patreon and become a patron of the channel, where you would get access to all of the scripts, the images, the music, the videos, as well as behind the scenes, and the ability to request topics for me to make future videos. Thanks very much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope your adventures go well.